Hey, Robin Knott here. Oh, it says our connection's a little slow, so hopefully we're good. We are on self-care day 10 for this round. So let me know how you're doing with self-care, and are you looking after you? How are you finding the 49 Days to Self-Care Challenge? Share us out here in a couple spots real quick, like, you know me, I'm multitasking. It's just not a great thing for me. But today is our solar plexus chakra, and in the self-care acronym, today is about love, having love for self. And in the best you, I had to think about that for a minute, and in the best you, that letter is S for self-image. So think about that, right? Because our solar plexus chakra definitely governs our self-image, how we feel about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, the patterns that we've created. Meaning, do we personalize a lot? And when we personalize a lot, how we internalize information, right? Or do we jump to conclusions? Or all of those different types of thought patterns are also governed by our solar plexus chakra. So having that love for self, when we're aware of those times when we personalize and how we internalize certain information, or what maybe when we magnify situations that aren't really that big of a deal, or we minimize situations that are. Do we criticize ourselves? Do we beat ourselves up? Are we full of blame, shame, and guilt, whether we're blaming someone else or ourselves? Or can we allow that love for self? Again, not the icky love, right? We're not talking about icky love. We're just talking about generalized, unconditional love, like the love from God's source creator. So also just a little tidbit from the solar plexus chakra, some emotional symptoms you might feel would have, like fear of rejection, right? That's kind of a big one. Again, those negative thinking patterns, that self-criticism, that self-judgment. When you think about the physical and where the solar plexus is, it's like above the belly button, right? In the belly area. So it's governing the organs in our belly. So when you think of things like ulcers, GERD, all it has to do with the solar plexus chakra. It has to do with how we feel about ourselves. Again, can we have love for self, or are we beating ourselves up? Are we being very critical of ourselves? Or we can overinflate too, right? Excuse me. Maybe we, in a sense, are not looking within, not willing to have that humility of realizing that we are human too, and we make human mistakes sometimes, and owning that, and right, because sometimes we can get like really extreme sense of pride, like that grandiose type of thing. That would be some overactivity in our solar plexus chakra, right? Hey, love. Hi, Iona. Good to see you. I'm like sleepy dragon butt today, not gonna lie. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hopping on. So kind of covering a little bit of the solar plexus chakra, integrating that with like the best you, our self-image, right? Because solar plexus chakra is really all about how we view ourselves, how we show up as ourselves, if we criticize ourselves, or if we put ourselves on a pedestal. But kind of finding that balance or harmony, right? Holding on to my pie stems, doing some weird air quotes there. Some other things we may experience if we have wonky energy in our solar plexus chakra physically could be other digestive disorders, gallstones, and even chronic fatigue. So I know I said I'm kind of super tired today. However, I stayed up at 4 o'clock. I was up probably till 10-ish. I don't know, maybe later. I'm not sure what time I fell asleep. I feel like I didn't sleep like I normally would appreciate 7 hours. Did not get 7 hours. I think I might have gotten 4.5 or 5. So I'm sleepy, and it's gray and gloomy out here today. It's going to rain. So I'm just like, oh yeah, totally need a nap. Ha ha ha. Yeah, showing up. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or not showing up, right? So that's a good point. How we feel within ourselves, like in our own skin. So I've talked before about in my lows and having those spiritual awakenings, like just not feeling okay and wanting to literally crawl out of my skin because I felt so uncomfortable just being with me, right? I wanted those distractions, whether it's TVs or music or something to distract myself from me. So when I was going through that awakening process and sitting with me, I should say processes, because more than one awakening and more than one in those experiences of, evaluating self, that mirror, when we're really looking within, seeing those, that human ego-ness, seeing our big human oopses. I don't even want to say oopses, but just misunderstandings or however we choose to word them, but blame, shame, guilt, right, to the extreme, and beating ourselves up and criticizing and judgment and all of those things. And when you think of the physical and the energy, I think I just shifted thoughts there, focus there for a minute. But when you think of that energy and you have that type of thoughts, you can feel that physically, right? Like you can get a nauseous feeling in your stomach, or even pains in your stomach from that type of energy flowing. Oh, the showing up. So I just saw your comment again, Iona. So if we feel okay to show up, or when we're not feeling okay within ourselves or with ourselves, then we don't show up, right? We hide, as Iona says, hiding behind closed doors. Iona says, you usually sleep well, definitely naps. I know, like the short hours I slept were okay, but excuse me, I really wanted to go back to sleep, but I just couldn't. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm up. But I think I shared with Iona behind the scenes, like I kept hearing this repeat in the head, like, what was it? Break the broke barrier. Something like that. It was like, get up, get out of bed, get busy, and break that broke barrier. No more being broke. Get up and be productive. Get busy. Cheer or not showing up. Yep. Iona says, yep, the hiding behind closed doors as an empathic killer is not okay. Exactly, it's not. And again, it deals with that energy and the solar plexus chakra. So as empathic healers, we need to be aware of our chakras, right? Excuse me, what they govern. Again, the 7-day chakra healing challenge, I'm doing live the 4th week of September. So if you want a refresher, or if you're not that familiar with your chakra systems just yet, hop on that for sure. You can get started now if you want to, because there's replays already available. I'm going to take a drink of this water real quick. Excuse me. Thank you. Iona says, break the broke barrier, truth, right? And it's funny, I just kind of kept going in my head. I felt like it was my highest self, like, come on, going back to sleep, ain't gonna get that done. Get up. I was productive, so I think I've earned a nap. That is a mantra. It is for sure, right? I will be on that lives. I will be on that. Be on that live. Yeah. Oh, love the replays. Not gonna lie. Thank you. See, my brain is just trying to sleep without me. You will be on the lives. Thank you for the 7-day chakra healing challenge. Excuse me. And love the replays. Got it. Thank you. Telling you. I almost took a nap and did this later, and then I thought, no, because then I'm afraid I won't do it because I have other things I still have to do today. So on the live challenge, thank you. And my brain was just not processing right away, as you could tell, right? So some of the things we can do for the energy in our solar plexus chakra, right? So that we can allow ourselves to have that love for self and kind of healing, if needed, our ideas of our self-image, those thought patterns that we tend to repeat and cycle, making them healthier thought patterns that work for us instead of those that are against us, right? And we could just hold our hand truthfully on our belly. Do you guys ever do that? And not just when you have a stomach ache or an upset stomach. If you ever feel drawn to just hold your hand over your belly, it helps to balance and align that energy in the solar plexus chakra. I call it healing hands in the 7-day chakra healing challenge. Also color therapy. Excuse me. Today I have my black t-shirt on with my little jacket because it's chilly today. So far anyway, I think it's supposed to warm up. Black is a very good color for negative energy, for drawing it out or blocking it, absorbing it away. Typically on solar plexus chakra day, it's yellow, right? Because the color yellow resonates with the solar plexus chakra. But again, black sometimes is fitting for any of the colors or any of the energies, just to help with that, releasing the negative energy or blocking from receiving too much negative energies or heavy, dense, gunky energy, whatever you want to call it. For solfeggio frequencies, 528 hertz resonates with the solar plexus chakra. And if you want to dive deeper into your journaling if I can speak, that would be great. Into your journaling process, you can journal with the words I do. So it's about action, right? And thoughts, in a sense, are action. It's mental action, right? So, like Iona teaches us about intentional living. What about intentional thinking? It's part of it, isn't it? It's part of it. In the Soul Legacy journal, Iona talks about emotions today, and I've shared before that we can think ourselves into an emotion, right? So they still go hand in hand. What type of thought processes do we have? Does it work for us and against us? How does it make us feel? How does it affect our emotions? Does it support us? Does it help us raise that vibration right into that joy and that happiness frequency? Or is it those negative, icky, conditioned thought patterns that beat us down, that create that self-judgment and criticism and all the icky junk that lowers our vibration, right? So in that sense of I do, think about how you think. So you don't have to use the word like I do think, but I think in what ways? Like, have you paid attention to your thought processes? What kind of things do you say to yourself? How do you think about things? Are you willing to receive, again, love, right? Or do you reject it? Do you say thank you? Or do you say no, thank you? And does it depend? Because sometimes we need to say no, thank you with those boundaries, right? But if it's something positive or something being gifted to us, or say a compliment or an offer of support, do we love ourselves enough to say thank you for it and receive it with gratitude? Or again, are we saying no, thank you? Or are we assuming that, big ringing in my left ear, are we assuming that somebody wants something from us, right? I'm not gonna allow you to do something nice for me because it then means that I owe you 10 times more, and I don't like that expectation, or I'm not worthy of it, or whatever it may be. But really journal on what some of your thought processes are. And in retrospect, you can add affirmations, right? So you can decide. So even if you don't list all the negative thoughts that you tend to think or negative thought patterns that you tend to have, you can intentionally list what you want to think. So you can start to retrain your brain to think in a different way, right? Sometimes those affirmations aren't just things to toss aside or say and be like, they don't work because I don't allow myself to believe it, or I tell myself something that I'm not willing to believe, or that I'm just going to, in one hand, bat it down anyway. You have to be willing to say it and receive it. At least sit with it, right? It's a process if you're used to the negativities, those old conditioned programs, right? But affirmations can and will work when you write something that you're willing to at least sit with, willing to at least, as Iona would say, try it on, right? Try it on. Even if you feel like you can't keep it yet, or hold that vibration or hold that energy and receive it fully yet, try it on, right? Baby step it, so to speak. I might have said that one, huh? Okay. Iona says, I wondered why I was earlier, where I was earlier. Sleepy. Just kidding. And it says, even when you don't feel like it, you are still showing up. And I love that. Thank you. We do, don't we? Iona says, I always do that with my belly. Do you? Put your hand there. That's awesome. I have a black t-shirt on. See, we got it going today. It's funny. We didn't even plan it. Iona says, I got my yellow t-shirt out and was drawn to black. Right? Me too. I wonder if there's something going on with the energy, like collectively today, which we don't have to know, but sometimes it's nice to be mindful of. Boom, action, right? So yeah, same with our minds. Like, we think of action oftentimes as just the physical part, but we do take action when we choose differently. So even if we're choosing to think differently, that's action taken, right? So I love that. Intentional living, as Iona teaches. Soul-guided action, absolutely. Because our soul isn't judging us and beating us down, right? And it says intentional thinking is the start of intentional living. Absolutely. Because everything starts in our thoughts, right? Poverty consciousness versus prosperity consciousness. Absolutely. Breaking that broke barrier. It could almost be a tongue twister. Big ringing. It was too. It was like, yeah. It was interesting yesterday. I didn't mention it, but I was like, what in the world? It literally felt like something was, we have an eardrum, right? It felt like something was literally playing, like tapping my eardrum. I was feeling it. It wasn't painful. It was annoying. It wasn't painful, but it wasn't a ring. It was a tap, and it was like this thump, 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 thump. But then I noticed that it only did it when there was noise. So I don't know. It was an odd thing I had not experienced before, and then it went away. Just quit. Iona says it's like expectations of giving our services away for free and the expectations and feeling worthy of receiving. Absolutely. Right? We do give a lot away for free, and then we assume that we're not worthy of receiving. But then there's that part of us that wants to help, right? So it's like we have to work through that and find the balance. Yes, being service and give and tithe, because we do want to do that, and that's a beautiful thing. But also being willing to receive in return. It's an energy exchange, right? Ion says, yep, try it on, baby. Heck yeah, try it on. Truth. Collapse. And it says, oh, wow, tapping in your eardrum. It was quite strange. Like I said, I had never felt that before. Hey, Rebecca, there she is. How you doing? Rebecca says, hi, beautiful. How are you doing, loves? We were talking about solar plexus chakra until I got off on a tangent and then shared about my eardrum drumming and then today ringing. Very interesting. But solar plexus chakra, how we think, our thought patterns, how we're showing up, if we're showing up, right? How we think about ourselves, which in turn feeds how we feel about ourselves, right? So those emotions, again, do we feel judged and criticized? There are times, and I've caught myself as well, sometimes I don't catch myself right away, where I feel like I'm being criticized, but it's not the other person's intention to criticize. It's how I receive it because of the old conditioned programs, right? So again, clearing the energy in the solar plexus chakra, wearing the black to help release or deflect that negative, heavy, gross, gunky energy, and even yellow to help build in some of that positive energy as well, right? And it says drumming and ringing. I know, I apparently have a band going on in my left ear. Just the left one. Rebecca says, strange. We were just talking about that positive thinking. Absolutely. Anna says, yep, conditioning. It is too, right? And divine timing, Rebecca, isn't it? Divine timing, just saying. We were in those old habits and then changing the words that we choose, right? So I don't know if you were on already when I was mentioning like deeper journaling or affirmations that we can have, and then having that willingness to try on the affirmation that we're choosing. So whatever words we're choosing to use, instead of completely, dismissing it, because the first time I think I practiced years ago when I first learned that. Sorry, I had to check that, make sure it was good. Years ago when I first learned that or was being taught about that, I deflected it. It's like, I don't buy that. And I wasn't willing to receive it, wasn't even willing to try it on. So it took a while. It was definitely a process to be able to get there. And sometimes writing it over, and I just had this little glimpse of like a kid at the chalkboard at school. I will be kind to me, right? Writing down whatever your affirmation is over and over again, trying to like program it into your brain in a sense, right? But in a way, that's kind of what tapping does too, isn't it? Like it taps on certain neural parts of the brain, but it helps us receive whatever that affirmation may be. So that's kind of a cool thing too. So I started tapping again and made me think of that as well. Iona says the chalkboard, right? Do you remember that? So everybody get your little chalkboard and your chalk and write your affirmations. And whether you buy into them and receive them yet or not, keep repeating them until you do. Just don't fight them, right? Just sit with it. Just try it on. practice. Practice makes perfect, quote unquote, as they say, right? Iona says love tapping. It's I like it too. I can't say I always like it because I didn't stick with it. I think is probably it. But yeah, these past couple days that I've done it, I was like, it felt really good. Even being tired and wanting a nap, it still felt really good after the tapping. So I'm interested to see over a period of time the outcome and result of that. So that'll be really lovely. And allowing myself, I think that's probably, maybe it's just the ones I've tried before in the past. But I know one that you said, Iona, she says something about, she says that loving and accepting self, right? I completely and deeply love, fully love and accept myself. And she talks about, she does the forgiveness one too. And like, yeah, I like that because it's a thing, isn't it? Iona says, woohoo to the tapping and to the healing and the clearing and all the great things. I love it. I love it. 100%. So what else did I not cover today for solar plexus? The element. And the element of the solar plexus chakra is fire. So the sun, which we are not seeing today in north central Ohio, if you can get out in the sun, even having some light nearby. I always have like a Himalayan salt lamp. I used to have one in practically every room. I have a couple here at mom's though as well. Even just closing your eyes and imagining that, like really imagine the sun being in your belly, right? And just expanding that warmth and that bright light, like a sun glowing, not burning, but glowing in the space of your belly. That's also very clearing. It is a thing, right? It is a thing for sure. Excuse me. So, homework, are you guys ready? If you have your chakra healing cheat sheet still, and if not, you can grab that in the Energy Healing School with the 7-day chakra healing challenge. Take a look at that and implement something off of that cheat sheet. So something I just mentioned today on the live, and let us know how you feel. So whether you want to share it in the comments, whether you want to share it in one of the groups, whether you want to share it in the energy healing community, right? Let us know how you're doing with that. If you want to make a post on social media, tag me in it. That'd be great. Let me see how it's going for you. We can always dive deeper, continue your journaling. Just make sure you're checking in with yourself, right? So as you check in, we want to increase our awareness. We want to assess where we're at, and is it in alignment with how we want to feel, how we want to think about ourselves, how we want to see ourselves. If you were going to describe you to me or to anybody else, what would you say? Would you have some great things to say about yourself? Or would you kind of beat yourself up? Or would you avoid the conversation altogether, right? That's one way of kind of checking in to see where you're at with that, what your opinion of you is, right? And again, it's not to criticize or to judge or to bring about any blame, shame, or guilt, but to call it out if it exists so that we can clear that away and incorporate and bring in the love for self, right? So check in, be aware, assess, align where you're at. If you're not in alignment with where you would like to be right now, what would it take? What's a step you could take to help get there? And again, I refer you back to the chakra healing cheat sheet, because as you help clear the energy in your solar plexus chakra, it will help improve, right, the opinion that you have of you. So again, let me know and check the description box for all the links and all the good things. The monthly call is coming up the first Tuesday of the month. So if you have not signed up for that yet, please do so. I would love to see you. Let me catch up here on. Iona says, I am on fire, manifesting and feeling amazing. The tapping is working for me already. It's been a day. That's awesome. I love that. I can't wait. You're going to talk about that in your live too, right? Be sharing some of that. Yep, bring on the homework. I brought it. And it says, love you billions too. Thanks for being here. Rebecca says, what if my opinion of me is conceited? So maybe you missed that part in this. Rebecca, I love you. Thank you for sharing that. You might have missed that part in the beginning of the live. You said that. We can literally have some overactive energy in our solar plexus chakra. So we want to slow it down a little bit. It's still wonky, it's imbalanced, and we're looking for the balance and harmony in that. So you want to slow it down. So really just kind of set that intention, lay your hand on your belly and just breathe into it slowly and just imagine it kind of not too slow, but just to slow it down and allow your hand to rest there. And you'd be surprised what a difference that can make. Right? When we got to hop off our pedestal a little bit. That's so funny. Iona says, yeah, sharing. Awesome. Awesome. So hopefully you're going on after this, Iona, and I can watch yours and then take my nappy nap before I have to run more errands. Rebecca says, thanks, but I like being conceited. Oh, you crack me up. Balance, Rebecca, balance. Yeah. We can go to those extremes, right? We either beat the heck out of ourselves or we get a little too ahead of ourselves, but definitely have love for self. I do love that. Oh, sorry, you missed one. There we go. Rebecca says, love you loads. Love you too, girl. Iona says, yep, going after perfect. All right, then I will wrap it up. And we'll see you tomorrow for heart chakra healing. Again, thank you for sharing your time and space with me. So much love. See you then. Bye, guys.